the signals, goes back to throw. Now looks to take off and run. Elway inside the 10 and dives over the 5-yard line.
Great play. Great play by John Elway. Just phenomenal.
Check swing roller. Tulowitzki. Colorado, the National League champion.
Jokic has to put it up. Falling away, puts it up. Bang! Nikola Jokic knocks it down. His foot was on the line. A two-pointer. What a shot.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Talking BS. I am your host, Steven Zamora. You can follow me on Twitter at ZamoraBSB. Now, today, I'm doing something a little different here. Usually, you come to this channel, you're going to find a lot of basketball content. And, it is the playoffs right now. Just got done watching the Nuggets knock out the Lakers last night. Great game. It was a great game. Jamal, of course, with the game winner. The big dunk on LeBron James. It was a super fun game. But today, I actually planned a show with a little bit of a change up. Seeing as I did kind of think that the Nuggets were going to beat the hell out of the Lakers. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. But they did give him the gentleman's sweep. So, but seeing as I had kind of already predicted that, and the goal of this channel was to kind of talk all things throughout Colorado sports in general. But something did catch my eye in the past week. And what that was the NFL draft. Now, hear me out. I'm not a huge NFL guy, right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, I watch every NFL game that's out there. And, I know everything there is about what's going on right now. But I will say, before I got super into basketball, I was very, very, very big into the Denver Broncos in particular and the NFL draft in particular. I grew up playing football my entire life, and I've always studied it. I've always been a big fan of football. With that said, I did not follow the Broncos for a lot of years because I felt like the direction of the team was just terrible for what it was. The ownership deal with the Bolin kids was just terrible. It was just going on forever. All the infighting was just really annoying. The team was going nowhere. Personally, I felt like, John Elway, when he was at the helm, love John Elway. I will never, I will always give him his due. I will always give him his flowers. But it kind of felt like he was asleep at the wheel at times. So, especially in the last couple years, and then, Peyton Manning retires after the Super Bowl, and we just quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. And it wasn't even so much that, we had, bad teams. What I really just didn't love about the team anymore was just like, it didn't have a direction. It didn't have any leadership. The coaching was just always horrible. Like, I hated Vic Fangio. I hated Hackett. I hated Vance Joseph. Like, they just made terrible decision after terrible decision. But lately, I feel like we finally have an identity. We finally have some leadership in place. We finally have a direction that this franchise is going. And it's great to see because my entire life growing up, man, the Denver Broncos were a staple in Denver. And frankly, Denver was a football town through and through. Like, the Denver Broncos owned Denver forever, They've always been the big sell out here in Denver. So to see that they're back on track, at least what I feel is back on track, is really, really encouraging. And it all started with the hiring of Shawn Payton, right? We finally have some leadership involved and a guy who knows what he's doing, a guy who knows what he's talking about. And then going into this draft, I felt, I don't know what it was, intuition, but I just felt like something was different about this one. So they go into the draft with the 12th overall pick, no seconds because that's what they traded to get Shawn Payton in the first place, and some later round draft picks, right? I believe it was 1/3, a bunch of fifths, stuff like that. I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not going to go all the way into the back end of the draft and everything like that. So, shout out to like Jonah Alice, Troy Weaver, Abrams Drain, and so on and so forth. Welcome to Denver. Welcome to the team. I hope you guys have the most amazing careers there is, including the guy who looks like Nikola Jokic with a mustache. That was really funny. But it all starts with the quarterback, right? We just watched the Super Bowl where, the San Francisco 49ers had like a damn all-star team full of these elite defensive players and, offensive players, skill position players, just everywhere, right? Just every single position they had was just amazing. And they still lost the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs, who had basically nobody but Patrick Mahomes. And it just shows the state of football in the year 2024, right? You have to have an elite quarterback. You have to have it. This is another bugaboo of mine with the NFL, is it's just so quarterback heavy now that like it basically doesn't matter what the rest of your team looks like until you get that quarterback. Which is why drafting a quarterback to this year in 2024 was such a big deal for us, and why Bo Nix, I think, is getting so much scrutiny by a lot of people. But I'm here to tell you today that I went through and I watched some film. I looked up some stats. I read some scouting reports. And I'm here to tell you, I think Bo Nix is the answer, guys. I really do. Let's first start with the state of the Denver Broncos. So this offseason, they released Russell Wilson with an $85 million cap hit for the next 2 years. We have had 13 different starting quarterbacks since Peyton Manning. We traded for Zach Wilson. We traded Jerry Jeudy, and we cut Justin Simmons. That $85 million cap hit is going to be huge for the next 2 years. This is why drafting a quarterback was the smart thing to do. We need somebody who can come in and be a starting level guy for us on a cheap contract, because we're paying another team's quarterback right now. We're paying for Russell Wilson still because we decided to give him that huge contract for, I guess at the time, I'm not going to fault them. At the time, it sounded like a reasonable deal, but, we've seen how that turned out. And then we have the 13 quarterbacks since Peyton Manning. Terrible run, right? It's only been 8 years, 13 quarterbacks. Like, that's nuts. So we also traded for Zach Wilson. Trading Jerry Jeudy, I'm a big fan of. Never really liked Jeudy too much. When he came out of Alabama, I was like real high on him. But since he came to the NFL, man, he just proved like he cannot hold on to the ball, which is like the number one job of a wide receiver. So, good riddance. And cut Justin Simmons. That one I was really sad about. I think Justin Simmons is he's a good guy, first and foremost. And he's a really good player. And he was a great Bronco. And it sucks that, we would have to cut him in order to, save money for the money that we're sending to Russell Wilson. But at the end of the day, man, he deserves an opportunity to go and win. So hopefully he signs with a good team here soon and he gets his opportunity to, get some dubs under his belt. Back to Bo Nix, though. Let's get to know him a little bit, right? So he was born February 25th, 2000 in Auburn, Alabama. He has been scouted since a kid and has played varsity quarterback since he was in 8th grade. He is 6'2", 215 pounds. A lot of people say he's closer to 6'3". He was a 5-star recruit in Auburn's 2019 class per 24/7 Sports composite rankings. He transferred from Auburn to Oregon in 2022, and he still had 2 years of eligibility. So this is why he was a 5-year starter. He was 3 years at Auburn, 2 years at Oregon. In 2023, he was first team All Pac-12, 2023 Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year, and he was a 2023 Heisman finalist. So, I think he finished third in the Heisman voting. He had a great year his senior year. And, even his years at Auburn, he was really good. And Oregon, he just really, took that next step and really became an elite quarterback in college. And if you don't believe me, let's check out the stats here, right? In 14 games, he had 470 attempts, completing 364 of them, good for a 77.4 percentage, 4,508 yards, 45 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, 9.6 yards per attempt for 188.3 passer rating. Now on the ground, he ran 54 times for 234 yards. That's a 4.3 yard average and 6 touchdowns on the ground. He set the FBS record for single season completion percentage at that 77.4% mark. This is where everybody comes in and says, this guy's a game manager. He's just like a dink and dunk artist. He's Alex Smith, right? Because he's super accurate. And, Oregon ran a lot of their stuff through screens, and, they didn't have much of a running game, but they ran through the short passing game pretty much, which is why his accuracy is so high and why the yards per attempt is so low. Some things I really love about the kid, right? And this is more like intangible stuff, right? This is more stuff that I just feel like you want from your leader, right? You want from your guy who is coming in to be the face of the franchise, right? Now, he's a little bit older, but he is married already. He has a very stable family. Another thing I loved, and I heard this on Colin Cowherd, to have the balls to move, right? He grew up in Auburn, Alabama. To go to your college that you grew up dreaming to play for, playing there for 3 years, and then having the balls to move all the way across the country to Oregon, literally across the opposite side of the country, right? Auburn, Alabama to fucking Oregon, that's nuts. And to have the balls to do that, I mean, that's not a huge thing, but that's very impressive to me. He's a big film junkie. Shawn Payton loves the kid because all he does is study film and study the playbook. Of course, everybody already knows the story that Payton sent him the playbook the night before, and he came in and he read it verbatim, and he was just on top of everything. In his college career, he had 5 different coordinators, 3 different head coaches, and a new offense in every single season that he played. So not only was he putting up all these monster stats and everything like that, he had to do it in a new offense every year. He had to do it with 3 different head coaches and 5 different offensive coordinators throughout his time in college. I mean, you talk about some toxic, chaos environments that he had to be in, and he still made it work. That's mental toughness, right? That shows your mental toughness and your capabilities and your high IQ, that you're still able to go in there and function with all these different coordinators, all these different playbooks, and still make it work. I mean, when I first saw that we drafted Bo Nix, I was a skeptic, even though he was more of a game manager and not really gunslinger, John Elway type. He was hyper efficient. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite explanations for his game is from PFF Steve Palazzolo.
Bo Nix is one of the most fascinating QB prospects of all time, right? Starts his career at Auburn for 3 years. He's an Auburn guy, loves Auburn. Just all we want to do is be an Auburn quarterback. And he played stylistically to me like a Jay Cutler, right? All over the place, wild, running around, crazy decisions. Then he transfers to Oregon and transforms into Alex Smith. He goes from Jay Cutler to Alex Smith.
Right.
And now all of a sudden he's taking care of the ball. So when he's at Auburn, 11th percentile at avoiding negatively graded throws, right? He's just all over the place, missing. And then at Oregon, one of the best we've ever seen. And he's 98th percentile as far as just negative plays, just not making them, not turning the ball over, not missing throws. Now the offense had something to do with it, but he transformed his game. And I'll make my Parcells joke again. Remember the Parcells rule? How many starts he needed for a quarterback? He wanted 30 starts for a quarterback to draft him.
Oh, in college.
In college, yeah, right. Well, Bo Nix did that twice. 60 total starts in college. So he's got
time.
Yeah, he's double the prospect.
I bet it's those last 2 categories right there at the bottom of the screen, what we're seeing right here, that makes the difference for a guy like Shawn Payton. Pressure grade, first. That's PFF passing grade under pressure. Turnover-worthy plays. The rate, only 1%. That was also first amongst quarterbacks that were in the FBS, I believe, last year.
All right, so a couple things I love there. He went from Jay Cutler at Auburn to Alex Smith at Oregon. Like, that just shows the range of his capabilities as a quarterback in college. He was allowed to be free, take chances, sling the ball, make plays, and he was still a very good quarterback in his first 3 seasons. Then he had an issue with the Auburn staff, and he ended up leaving and hitting the transfer portal. And another thing I love is the fact that, like, he almost never takes sacks. He's quick to release the ball. Granted, a ton of the plays are like, short passing opportunities, but like Shawn Payton said, he evaluates accuracy on short throws because of like ball placement, right? He's going to hit you. Think of a screen, right? You have a screen play set up. You want to hit the guy on his outside shoulder so that he has time to turn and run, right? And Bo does that. That's the type of stuff that Bo does. He's pinpoint with his accuracy. He puts it in the place that sets up guys to succeed, right? He puts them in places to succeed. He places the ball where it needs to be for the wide receiver to get it and make the play. And then the fit, right? His fit in Shawn Payton's system. This is a Drew Brees pick.
In the first round
to Denver.
Right here.
No
right
doubt.
Here.
Yeah. I mean, this is a Drew Brees type of player. I mean, if you want to just go down the road here, I mean, this is a guy that's going to get the ball out of his hands faster than any of these quarterbacks that were taken. He's the 6th one. But if you want to make a case for who may be the most ready to play right now, as far as let's catch it and throw it, let's get it out of our hands, let's go screens, let's not take sacks, doing all the things that Shawn Payton's going to look for in a quarterback that probably Russell Wilson, clearly that wasn't his strength.
Good at the stuff that Russell Wilson wasn't good at. Like, sign me up for that, right? One of the things that bugs me is how much he gets blamed for the Oregon offense. Like, Oregon didn't have a run game. They really didn't have much of a run game. So they went with a lot of short passing game to supplement that. A lot of passes from behind the line of scrimmage. But there's a lot of offenses like that. You have to understand. There's a lot of people out there who run offenses similar to that. They don't have a 77% completion rate. There's a lot of other teams that do stuff like this. They don't have the efficient offense that Oregon did last year, right? Frankly, they don't have the quarterback that does it like that, which just shows like you can put him in a situation like that and he's going to make it as good as possible, right? That's as great as it's going to get, right? That's everything you're asking your quarterback to do. And just because he wasn't asked to check into like tight windows over the middle of the field doesn't mean he isn't capable. I mean, one of Justin Herbert's knocks coming out of the draft, right, was like, oh, we don't know if he's going to have a great arm because he played in the Oregon offense. And now he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So, I mean, this is what a lot of experts say. You can't blame the kid for the offense that he played in when he made the offense that he played in one of the most effective offenses in the entire, NCAA.
Pocket Bill.
Yeah, he's really, of all the quarterbacks, the highest rated from the pocket. I think he's got a good arm, but that system kind of is more possession passing. But you can see he's got some highlight plays down the field here. But he has almost a 75% completion percentage, and it's because, a lot of throws are, closer to the line of scrimmage. Yeah. But,
that's not his fault.
No, he protects the ball well. And again, this is another guy that's played a lot of football, from Auburn to Oregon. He's had a full career up there. So, he's experienced and he's probably, pretty close to being game ready. And, he's got to be smart to handle Shawn's offense. So, it's what a quarterback draft this has been.
Yeah.
So Shawn Payton runs a very intricate offense with a lot of nuance and a lot of reading the defense. This is why Drew Brees excelled in it in New Orleans. Bo is excellent at that. He's a major film room guy. He's a playbook junkie. Like, I could just imagine when they were doing the scouting and Shawn Payton and Bo Nix were in the room together and sitting there watching film together. And Bo Nix already knows all the plays that Shawn Payton sent to him. And they're watching film and Bo is just breaking it down for him. And they're just sitting there getting giddy over this shit. Like, they're just sitting there having a great time. Like, you could see it in Shawn Payton's face when they were sitting there asking him about it after after they picked him, like you could see how excited he was. He was like, I love this kid. And like Shawn Payton said it himself, right? In that same interview, he had the analytics team go through and like get rid of all of the junk plays, right? All the screens, all the behind the line stuff. Bo was still amongst the most efficient quarterbacks in the draft. He still is grading out better than a lot of these guys. He just does his job the most efficient way, and he does it as good as he possibly can, and that's all you can ask for.
Bo Nix, I think, was maybe one of the most pleasant surprises of this process, right? You know, I, of course, saw Oregon on TV and did all of that. I get that, right? But I think where I love Bo Nix is, one, I love his overall body and look, right? He's got a great NFL body. He's got a little structure and muscle on him. He's a really awesome athlete, right? I mean, he is a really good runner, right? I mean, really good, right? He plays quarterback in a lot of ways like an NFL quarterback. His ability to read the field, okay, make quick decisions, throw the appropriate ball, right? Knows when, okay, maybe I need to throw a laser here. Ooh, wait, this guy's going to undercut it. Let me touch it over his head and drop it in the bucket. Can do all of that, right? His backyard playmaking ability, I think, is elite. I do. I think it's elite. When he gets out of the pocket, right, I think on the run, only Caleb Williams is better throwing the ball on the run than Bo Nix. Bo Nix has got a sneaky, strong arm. He's not getting credit for his arm power because they throw too many screens at Oregon. He doesn't call the plays, everybody. He just executes them. Don't forget that. Let's not evaluate him for the plays they're calling, right? They play a style that it's basically screens or bomb. Screen, bomb. Screen, bomb. It's a pretty good formula when you got Oregon's type of talent. They got these jitterbug receivers who can make people miss. Hey, Bo Nix can get the ball out of his hand quick. He can throw it, accurately on the quick, short, intermediate throws, all that. He's, bullseye thrower. His mechanics are really flawless. I think as a pure thrower, his mechanics in a clean pocket, they rival Caleb Williams as far as the things you do the right way. His body's front shoulder turn, balance on his feet is pretty perfect all of the time, right? So that's where I love Bo Nix. Let me just say this too. Shawn Payton is going to draft Bo Nix if he's there at number 13. I'm just going to throw that out there. I sat there and watched it and went, oh my gosh, Shawn Payton's going to love Bo Nix. He's going to love him. He might have to trade up to get him. I don't know. I don't know if he'll be there at 13. But Bo Nix has it all, right? His only negative is going to be a little bit of, all right, he's older, okay, sure, right? I get that. But, when I look at it overall, quick, tight motion, like I told you, really good athlete, controls the ball really well. I wish at times, right, here's one of the negatives, I wish he would use his legs and his body to throw the ball a little bit more. There's a throw every now and then I go, give it the little, give it some elbow grease, you know what I mean? Throw the 100-mile-per-hour fastball. But he's got a strong arm, and he's a good athlete to where he gets away with it a lot with maybe not stepping into the throw all the way.
Now, like Chris said there, he's not perfect, right? Like, he does have flaws. Like, I don't want to sit here and, make you believe that I think he's the perfect quarterback. He's not, right? There's a reason he was picked 6th or pick 12th as the 6th quarterback taken, right? He has his flaws. Namely, his age. He's 24 already. So that means he could be really close to a ceiling. He could be as good as he's going to be, right? He has inconsistent drop back footwork. Too often disrupts his timing when working full body drop back passing concepts. He fades on his throws under pressure that could lead to a lot of ducks. He has a below average ability to find answers within structure when his first read is taken away. His lack of velocity on balls means every throw has to be on time and in small windows. And there's no truly elite trait that you can point to compared to some of the others in this class, right? So you have Michael Penix Jr. has this great arm talent, right? Caleb Williams is talented all around. Like, he can run, he can do everything. He's big. He's your kind of prototypical quarterback. Bo isn't that, right? He's not huge. He's not the strongest. He doesn't have the most talented arm. He's not the fastest, but he is fast. He does have a good arm. He is super smart, and he's big enough, right? To me, not having any elite traits is one thing, but he has enough good traits at everything, right? He's good at everything. He's, like I said, he's big enough, he's strong enough, he's fast enough, he has good enough arm talent. What I think he's going to be elite at, and what gives me so much hope, we had a quarterback here from 2012 through 2015 named Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning was, he was tall, but he wasn't the biggest. He wasn't fast. He wasn't strong. He didn't have the greatest arm in the world. But the dude was a prep monster, and he had one of the highest IQs in all of football. To me, Bo Nix could be there, right? Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Peyton Manning. I get it, right? He's not going to be Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is one-on-one. But if there's one way for him to sell himself and to really make himself excel, of course you got to put in the work and make your arm, stronger. Of course you got to put in the work to get faster. Of course you got to go in the weight room and get bigger, stronger, right? To be able to take hits more. So you're not fading on the damn throws, and you're stepping inside the pocket and you're delivering the ball with some velocity, right? But what I think he could really, really, what I think could really take him to that next level and make him an elite quarterback, because as of right now, I think he'll be a very good starting quarterback. I think he'll be a very good starting quarterback. But what could take him to that next level and make him, in that upper echelon, those top 5 quarterbacks that you need to win a Super Bowl, is that IQ, right? Learn the game at the NFL level. Learn all the nuances. Learn that playbook in and out like the back of your hand. Learn the Shawn Payton offense and trust that Shawn Payton is going to get you and put you in positions that is going to make you succeed. Like, it's 2024, man. It's 2024 in the NFL. And without one of those top 5 guys at the quarterback position, you are not winning a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. You just will not win a Super Bowl. So as great as it is to have him here, he's got to reach that level if we're going to make Super Bowl, if we're going to make it to the Super Bowl once again. And we all know, as Broncos country, that's all we give a shit about. Like, straight up. If you're not winning Super Bowls, on to the next one. Because this is a winning town, and what we do is win shit here. Okay? We got way too much shit going on everywhere else, right? We got the Denver Nuggets right now winning championships. We got the Colorado Avalanche right now winning championships. We got the mountains in our backyard. We can go hiking and shit if you're going to be out there playing loser football. What we want is to win titles. Otherwise, kick rocks. So if you can't do that, you're going to be gone. Frankly, that's what it is. Like, it just is what it is. So in order to do that, you got to become a top 5 quarterback in this league. I think he could do it, man. I think he could do it. I think this organization is finally in a place where they have leadership and they have people who know what they're doing in place. And I hope now that we have our franchise guy who's going to take us over the top. If you can, please like and subscribe to the channel. It'll help me a lot. And I appreciate you guys so much for sticking with me through this. I know it's not my usual content, but I appreciate you guys for being here. Broncos country, let's go. I love y'all. Nuggets Nation, let's go. Love y'all. Beat the Wolves. Mile High City, baby. We out.